couple of years ago, if you said to me, who do you think are the least problematic players at West Ham United? Because for months now we've had rumours of discontent, rumours of players unhappy at West Ham United, players that want out of the club, players that don't enjoy playing under David Moyes or have a problem with David Moyes. Some of it's rumours, some of it's factual. Alex Kral spoke out about it. Vladimir Soufal has spoken out about it. Lots of rumours around players like Scamacca and Antonio as well. There's lots and lots of it. The list started relatively big and it seems to get bigger. Every month a new player gets added to the list. Now that happens at all football clubs and it will happen again at West Ham United post David Moyes where players are unhappy for whatever reason. But while that camp is there, there's another camp which is players that are happy at the club. Players that enjoy working for and playing under David Moyes. Now, it might be shorter than that one, but my point is there will be players that are actually enjoying the football at West Ham. But if 2 months ago, let's go back 2 months, start of June, you said to me, who do you think are those players? I would have said Łukasz Fabiański, Aaron Cresswell, Angelo Ogbonna, and probably Jared Bowen as well. Now, I know rumours of Bowen have arisen since, but I think that's just that, rumours. You know, he scored a goal and started kissing the badge at the weekend. I'm willing to take that as evidence over the rumour that Bowen is unhappy, for example. But my point is, those are the 4 players that come to my mind straight away. Well, since then, we've now got a problem with 2 of those. Aaron Cresswell and Łukasz Fabiański. We'll get onto the Cresswell thing in just a second. But let's start with Fabianski, because it's the big news today. He's been speaking to a Polish media outlet, and he said he's angry. Fabianski is angry. And this is the last player, in all honesty, this is the last player I expected to speak out negatively about the football club. It's taken me by surprise a little bit, and this is a bad sign. When Scamacca is apparently unhappy, I take it with a pinch of salt. I look at the Scamacca situation, I think, well, you're partly responsible for this. It's a little bit self-inflicted. Could West Ham have done more? Certainly. Could David Moyes have done more? Definitely. But could Scamacca have done more? I think so. I think he's just as much to blame as David Moyes is for the situation that's happened. A forgettable year for him in London. He's gone back to Italy. I think Scamacca's to blame. So I struggle to just blame David Moyes for. Is he, like I said, has he got a role to play? 100%. But it's not just him. But with Fabianski, I can't really blame the player for this one because he's been a model professional since he's been at this club, as has Aaron Cresswell. And this is my point. We've got 2 players that have caused no problems whatsoever. One wants out, and the other one's saying that he's really angry at the minute. And this is not good. Let's get on to the quotes. Before I do, thank you to everybody who subscribed to Hammers Chat recently. Thank you very much. Welcome to the journey. And if you've been here a little bit longer then, thank you. Thank you for sticking by it. I really appreciate it. But if you're new around here, please do subscribe by hitting that big red button under your screen that says subscribe. And drop a like on the video. It helps us out. Even if you don't enjoy the content, dropping a like on the video by clicking thumbs up takes you 2 seconds. It's free and helps the channel out massively. So thank you very much. Now, Łukasz Fabiański has been speaking to a Polish media source, Canal Plus, regarding being dropped for the weekend, because I was going to do a video yesterday about the tactics from the weekend, but then the news around transfer rumours took over a little bit. So I'm going to discuss the tactics in the second half of this video, because it sort of ties into Fabianski. Because while there was a lot of things unsurprising, such as the tactics, the substitutions, the attitude, there was one thing that surprised me, and that was Areola starting in goal. I didn't see it coming. Should it have come? Possibly, yes. I'm not saying David Moyes was wrong, by the way. I'm not saying Moyes was wrong to put Areola in ahead of Fabianski. But it surprised me. I did not see that one coming. And as a result, Fabianski's done an interview about it. And this is what Fabianski said. I'm going to read you his quotes, and it's not good. He said, "I took the news awfully. Being honest, first of all, it was a massive shock. Second of all, the information made me angry. I wasn't mentally ready for something like this. The way the situation was handled feels weird to me. As you can probably feel my pain, all I will say is that through my work with the club, the coaching staff and the manager, I deserve the situation to unfold in a much different way than how it happened and on Thursday. I know it's just my subjective opinion, but I feel like I should have been treated better in that specific situation." Now, it's a video format podcast, so you can see Fabianski speaking, and he looks upset, he looks hurt. He was told on Thursday he wouldn't be starting on Saturday, I presume, by David Moyes. He references the manager there, that he's getting dropped, that Areola will be the number 1 this season, or will start the season as number 1 anyway. Fabianski will now be on the bench. And he's speaking about how he didn't see it coming. Well, I didn't see it coming either. But he's obviously got a lot more evidence than I do. He's training every week, speaking to people. He was expecting to start against Bournemouth and got told on Thursday he's been dropped. Now, I'm trying to separate two things here, because first of all, there is the decision to drop Fabianski. And I'm not saying that that's wrong. I think Fabianski had a better season than Areola last season. I think Fabianski's been superb since we signed him. He's been one of our most successful signings in recent seasons. We focus on the poor signings a lot. We do it. I do it. Gonzo does it. A lot of people do it. Not everybody. A lot of people focus on the bad signings, the ones we get wrong, whether it's buying or selling. We are more likely to discuss how Scamacca was a failure, how Vlasic was a failure. We're more likely to discuss that than about how Fabianski was a huge success. We will discuss it from time to time. When he leaves, we'll discuss it. But we generally focus on where the club got things wrong rather than where the club's got things right. I think that's just human nature, perhaps. But Fabianski's something, as a signing, has been incredible. He's been far better. I knew he was a really good keeper from Swansea, but I didn't think he was this good. He was much better than I expected. So dropping him for Areola, it had to happen at some point. It had to happen. You can't sign Areola, a French international, on 100 grand a week on a 5-year deal and put him on the bench and just leave him on the bench until Fabianski's ready to retire. Maybe the club expected Fabianski to go this summer. The summer that's gone now, his contract was expiring. It was quite late in the summer, the season that he got a new deal. Maybe the club's vision was Fabianski would move on to get someone else in. Maybe Fabianski did a lot better last season than what the club expected. We don't know. Something might have changed. But at some point, Areola was going to have to take over from Fabianski. He was just going to have to. We can't afford a keeper like Areola on the bench. Because the last thing we needed was get to a summer, let's say next summer, Fabianski goes, he retires. Areola wants out because he's not been our number one. Now suddenly we've got no keeper. We've got 2 number ones at the minute. Next summer we could be in a situation where one's retired and one's unhappy because he's not been played. So Moyes was going to have to switch at some point. So the decision to switch to Areola, I get it, and it had to happen. But the way it's been handled, the way it's been managed, is a completely separate thing. My argument isn't that he shouldn't have played Areola. I prefer to have seen Fabianski. I think he's a better keeper at the moment. But I get it. But Fabianski, reading and listening to Fabianski, it's not necessarily... There is an element of why am I dropped, I should be starting. And I think he's right, he should be. Do you know something? Areola should be thinking that as well. Both our keepers should be thinking, I'm number one, I should be starting this weekend. They should both be thinking that. And I make them both correct. Obviously we can only play one of them, but they're both right to think that, and they both should think that. So while Fabianski is disappointed to be dropped, I think he's more angry about how it was handled. He speaks about how it was handled rather than, I'm angry I was dropped. I'm angry about how the situation, I feel I deserved better. Those are damning words, I think. And that's concerning because a lot of this stuff we do, videos, you making comments, it's all based on opinion. You take small fragments of evidence and you build an opinion based on what you've seen, what you've heard. With the Fabianski thing, many people, Mark Noble is the number one here, I think. When he was on the Ben Foster podcast and he was speaking about goalkeepers in the past, because obviously Ben Foster being a keeper, and they came on to Fabianski, Mark Noble said he's the calmest person there is. He's the calmest person, one of the calmest players he's ever played with, the calmest person at the club. In the dressing room, he's just chilled. And he's exactly what they need. In defence, he's on the pitch, he's calm, and that's what they need. So Mark Noble was very, very big on how calm Fabianski was. So we believe Mark Noble, and I don't see any reason not to. Why? Because on the pitch, Fabianski does look calm. He very rarely looks flustered. When he gets something wrong, he still looks in control. He still looks composed. Again, no issues at West Ham. No issues at Swansea. The only issues at Arsenal was that he couldn't come and catch a cross. That was it. In terms of he's 38 years old. In terms of his conduct at these clubs over the years, nothing. Not one bad word about him anywhere, ever. So in terms of behaviour, you cannot get better than Fabianski. But yet we have him saying he's angry about this. And this is, like I said, when an aggro attitude player like Scamacca kicks off, you sort of dismiss it a little bit. If Arnautovic kicked off, you thought that's just Arnautovic. But when Fabianski's doing it, that's That's bad. That is really bad. And we've got another situation now, as if we didn't have enough this summer already. This season's only one game in. It feels like there's that much drama. But I get where Fabianski's coming from. Well, I say I get that. I don't know how the situation was handled, but Fabianski's telling us. But how it was handled has really upset him. It's really pissed him off. And it's worrying. Now, I don't think Fabianski's going to go. I'd imagine he'll still play the cup games. He'll still put in top performances because he's that kind of player, because he's that kind of professional. But when you upset someone like that, there can be a domino effect. And I think it's not a good look for David Moyes. It's not a good look. I've tried my best to sort of not beat up David Moyes much this summer. I've tried my best to sort of give him a bit of a clean start. He's here for the season. I'm trying my best to judge him on this season only. But sometimes it's difficult, and this just makes it difficult. As for Aaron Cresswell, again, I've not said anything bad about Cresswell. It's not because I love him. I do. I don't mind confessing I love Aaron Cresswell, right? It's no secret. But when he's been here for 9 years, it's difficult not to have that affection for a player. But he's been here for 9 seasons. And it's not because I'm a fat Aaron Cresswell either, thanks to that person in Newcastle. I might look like a fat Aaron Cresswell and I might love him, but 9 years Cresswell's been here, not one issue. Not one. This summer he's had to go on strike. And now this is serious. This is like the last resort. Going on strike is plan Z. You do other things. You have discussions, you have conversations, you try and go about things the right way. And if all that fails, then you go on strike. So for Cresswell to go on strike, that is serious. Now, I know he wants out. I know he wants to go to Wolves, probably for financial security. But this is the player that's been linked to Liverpool in the past. He's been linked to Champions League clubs while at West Ham. Not once do we have an issue. But yet, with the greatest of respect, he's been linked to a sideways move and he's not too happy about it. And I'm refusing to stick the boot in on Cresswell because is it nice that player's going on strike? Of course it's not. But in the same space, 9 seasons of Cresswell, 9 seasons, the same 9 seasons of the ownership. While Cresswell's done nothing wrong, the owners have got a lot wrong. While David Moyes hasn't been here that long, he's got a lot wrong in his time here. So I just struggle to blame Aaron Cresswell for this. I wouldn't be surprised, and this is me guessing, let me make this clear, this is me guessing. I wouldn't be surprised if he's got David Moyes' permission. I would not be surprised if he's had a conversation with Moyes about wanting out and Moyes says it's got nothing to do with me, unfortunately. I wouldn't be surprised if Moyes has granted him that time away from the squad because Moyes has said nothing about Aaron Cresswell. Moyes has not said anything bad about Aaron Cresswell either. Why would he do that if Moyes disagreed with what Cresswell's doing? Why would he not say something? Why would he not address it? That would insinuate to me that Moyes understands why Cresswell doesn't want to be part of the team, doesn't want to stay at West Ham, wants to move away. He was in Australia, played against Perth, didn't play against Spurs. In that few days, something must have happened. And then after he came back from Australia, he was gone. That was it. We didn't see him again. He's gone. Not even been in a pre-season squad. He's back in training now, but he's training on his own. Someone that's been at the club for 9 years had to go on strike and now is training on his own for whatever reason. Now, you don't have to agree with what Cresswell's done. I just think, is it because he's trying to force a move? Well, do you know something? I think we owe it to Cresswell to let him go. I think he's done enough. I think he's been a fantastic servant, brilliant performances. I think he deserves a chance to leave. We rejected a £2 million offer. I think £2 million for somebody on that contract, that age, I think that's a fair price. So at the minute, I'll go back to what I said at the start. Who do you think is the least problematic players at the club? I'll tell you what, going by the evidence we have, in the last 9 seasons, Aaron Cresswell is undeniably one of the least problematic players. Vice captain for many managers have given him a captain's armband at West Ham. And then we've got Łukasz Fabiański. Not a problem. Not a problem at all. Now speaking out publicly about how he's been treated by the club, by the manager. This is not good. This is not good whatsoever. And I'm feeling positive at the minute because we're bringing Alvarez a signed, Ward-Prowse is signed. I'm getting excited about potentially signing 1 or 2 other players. I'm feeling okay despite that performance on Saturday. But the Fabianski thing has just left a real sour taste in my mouth. Anyway, I'm going to disappear. That's the news for today. I'll be back later on today with a transfer roundup or doing that video about David Moyes I was going to do. But he just people are angry with Moyes at the minute. People get angry with me for being too positive, and people are angry with me for being too negative. I can't win. Can't win with David Moyes at the minute. No matter what you say, you upset people. It's a guarantee. It's a strange thing. So maybe I'll handle that hand grenade video later. But anyway, I'm going to shut up now. If you enjoyed this video, probably not, but if you enjoyed this video, drop a like on it. Subscribe if you're new to Hammers Chat, and I'll catch up with you in a bit.